What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Gurren Otaku Council podcast. As always, I'm your host, Ace. That's McMillian, and today we got the return of everybody's favorite elf, Frieren, with our impressions of the second core of Frieren, Beyond's Journey In, and much more. But of course, before we get all to that, if you'd like to join the council and join me, my friend McMillian here, as we discuss all things anime and sometimes manga, then please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as well as follow us on our social media so you can stay up to date on all things about the council. And with that being said, the council is now in session. Let the meeting begin. All right, everybody, welcome back. Thank you all for joining us today. You don't know how many takes I just had to do to get this intro down, but it's okay. I digress. We got through it. Hope everybody's having a fantastic week so far. How you doing today, McMillian?
I'm doing good. My friend. How about you?
I've been better. I've been better. After all this time, you'll think I wouldn't mess up the intro so much. Thankfully, we get to save you guys from that. We get to save you guys from all that. But as always, I'm be handed off to McMillian, who's going to start us off with our council announcements.
Yep. So, council announcements agenda for today is going to be, as Ace put it, Frieren Beyond Journey's End, first impressions of the second core returning. And then we have a watch list update instead of news this week, due to the lack of, there's just a very small amount of news. Then we'll, as always, giving you a weekly recommendation, and then we'll be rounding out the episode with a review of Solo Leveling's first episode. Besides that, for just a quick news update, I do believe before on the podcast we talked about how there's a Hunter x Hunter game coming out. We just got a reveal this week that the game is going to be called was it Nin
Impact?
Nin Impact, thank you. And it seems to be a 3v3 arena fighter, like all anime fighting games seems to be. So if that excites you, be on the lookout for that. There is a small teaser out if you haven't seen it. Besides that, rest of the council announcements, we have just a reminder that we had a JJK season 2 finale episode last week, where we also discussed our watch lists for this winter season of 2024. As always, guys, we're still on the road to 100 subscribers, so again, regardless of like what you're listening on or anything like that, we please ask you to go come over here on YouTube and hit the like, comment, subscribe button, all that jazz. We really would appreciate it.
Last but not least, so I do have a special announcement here. So I've been working on a project in the background. So for those who've been following the podcast for a while, everybody knows One Piece is my favorite anime, and I've been discussing how I want to cover One Piece on the podcast here. So it's official. The episode actually should be out now by the time this episode drops. But starting this week, every week you can catch me for weekly One Piece reviews, as well as weekly One Piece news and other things of that nature. We also I essentially want to make that place my one-stop shop for everything One Piece on the series. But the first episode should definitely be out now, so please go and check that out.
Very excited for my friend here. He's been dying to do this, so good. Best of luck to you, Ace, and I hope everybody enjoys the One Piece content.
Yep. With all that being said, everybody, we're going to hop into today's first discussion. Once again, our Frieren Beyond's Journey In second core, first impressions. So, last time we talked about Frieren, last time we left our girl, we just got introduced to the priest. He was just becoming a part of the group. But if you've been watching the series and if you caught up, spoiler alert, our priest friend is no longer with us, which is kind of crazy because I was starting to think that he was actually going to become part of actually stick with the group, because I was like, okay, because it looked like we were just gathering all the members of the group, or not members, but all the classes from the old Heroes part of the group, essentially. That's what it like it was happening in present day. And so we was bringing the priest along, and then really the only thing that we was quote unquote missing at the time was a hero in that sense. And I really almost thought for a second that our friend Mr. Gorilla was gonna try and fill that little void, even though technically there's no hero that's needed, but that's the last spot that we quote unquote need. But so I guess it's kind of weird to see that that is not the case, and it looks like we're going to be heading in a different direction for the series.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting because, like I said, he had just joined, and I was liking Sign because he brought like I want to say like a level of normalcy, but it was his whole thing was kind of like everybody on this party except for me seems to have a problem with like communication, so he brought that aspect.
Yeah,
I even like there was part of one of these episodes with Stark and Fern had gotten upset with each other when they were in this winter town, and he had helped them solve their problems. And then you cut to a scene of him and Frieren in the pub, and he was like, "Just get together already, God!" He's like, "I'm tired of this shit."
I was like, I feel the same way saying because they starting to piss me off too, the way they acted.
So I just thought it was a pretty good thing. So I was kind of sad. I was very upset to see him
Yeah, I'm with you on
leave
there.
so
To
fast.
piggyback a little bit off what you just said, with him just being the, I guess, the level-headed person out of the group, the one, like you said, the one who actually can communicate with, even though Fearing can communicate with people, and Fern to a certain extent as well. But we all know when Fern just gets in her certain moves, it's like, oh, well, there she
Yeah, yeah.
go.
All bets are off.
So we need somebody else that's still level-headed when even when Fern's not level-headed, because we unfortunately we can't always count on Fearing, but we still
Mhm.
can count on Fearing, just not to lead the conversations. We can count on her in other ways though.
I'm hoping to hopefully see Sign again because I do think he brought something interesting. Well, I think he was a good addition. I'll
I
say that.
agree. I agree.
So I do hope we
And
get
then
to
who
see
knows?
them
Maybe
again.
him and our boy, Mr. Gorilla, may end up joining the group together one day. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, that name still throws me off. I remember. I think
It's
I was
wild.
watching. When I was watching the episode when they got to meet the lady who told him where he could find it, like where he might be able to find his friend, and she was like, "Yeah, Gorilla cleaned this statue before." I'm like, "Gorilla? Who? Who are we talking about?" I had
We
to
talk
remind
about the
myself.
same person. It's just the same guy.
Exactly.
It's the same guy.
I had to remind myself. But speaking of that though, I thought it was interesting that the statue that they had to clean off like in this episode prior to the second core coming back was Kraft's statue, and they talk about how he was a hero of legend at one point.
Hmm.
And I just thought that was interesting. Like, do you think there might be like any significance to them alluding to Kraft being the hero? Considering we got to meet him before, and he was just seemed to be like a random elf priest.
Well, I mean, I guess this that scene was alluding that he was a hero at one point, probably a long, long time ago, maybe even before, the whole Demon King and that situation that was going on. So I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it would make sense if they was heroes before he Mel, that they even their name would probably be lost. But he's still around and kicking around. But it doesn't look like the other guy may have been human, so he might be long gone. And it's also probably why Kraft ain't said nothing about it. Ain't no telling how many years that was, that was ago.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a very interesting thing for them to just kind of like point out and be like, "Oh, that random priest you met
But
along
it
your
is kind
journey."
of cool though. Like you just said, yeah,
Yeah,
that random priest was actually this whole time. He's a powerhouse. You never
yeah.
you would never know.
And then like after that we get what was it? So like from this recent episode, after like Sign and them left, there wasn't really that much to go off other than I guess like Fern got sick. We had that moment where Frieren remembered that everybody, no matter how old or young, needs some type of support.
Hmm.
And so like even like if it's a small bit, which I thought was kind of, well, I just thought was kind of nice because again, like the whole show is basically like connections and people.
Hmm.
So that was a really nice thing to kind of go about. We'll kind of go about doing.
Well, one thing I did find interesting, that they mentioned in this episode was that they're halfway through their journey. Already. It's been 4 years in the anime, and they're already halfway through their journey. As we all know, they're going on a 10-year journey. And we're already no, we're halfway there, and so I thought maybe this series was going to be a little bit longer than what it was showing to be, but maybe Frieren might be a little bit more shorter series than I thought.
Well, I don't know because the manga is still going along
It
pretty
is okay.
strongly.
That's good news
Yeah,
then.
like it's not done. So I
That
would
is beautiful
assume
news.
that I would at least assume that if it is short, we at least maybe have another year with this series. I would imagine,
Okay.
if anything, if not more, because like I said, the manga is still going on pretty strongly.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, well, ain't no telling what will happen in this series so far, to go forward, because we do know before they even get to the Demon King's castle and all that, there's like a war somewhere going on in the north right now that they're also going to have to deal with whenever they do get to that. So that might take, that might be an arc in itself. And then
yeah.
still also, actually another thing was alluded in this episode. So the old man that was guarding the village, right? We found out that he's essentially, guarding the village, because his old dead wife left this village. She was probably, born and raised in that village, and this is her hometown. He's
Hmm.
protecting and whatnot. But there was a scene at the end, right before, where they're basically saying their goodbyes, and then the gnome, he was like, "Well, is he a gnome? No, he's a dwarf." He was talking to Frieren, and
He's
he was
dwarf, yeah.
like, "I'm glad you guys came to see me, before you went off to fight the Demon King and all that." And Frieren looked at him like, the Demon King's dead. But if we
It's like she didn't.
but throughout
Yeah.
this entire series, we've been seeing the similarities between the hero's adventure and the adventure that we're going on now. So who's to say that when we get to the Demon King Castle, there's not going to be some bullshit going on with somebody maybe potentially trying to
Well,
revive the Demon King?
yeah, but that could be it too. But also, there's a character that I keep seeing in the opening that seems to be like a little elf, if not a demon themselves or something,
Hmm.
that they keep showing, and I'm wondering like, is this a major antagonist? Is this someone trying to replace the Demon King? What's going on here? Who
Or
is
did
this?
or
Like,
even that, like, what if the Demon King had a quote unquote hair or something like that? What if the next Demon
yeah,
King is coming to rise, and our party will just be starting to figure that out as they get closer to the actual castle, old Demon King's castle.
yeah. I mean, it no telling. I think like where it could go like from here, because again, like you said, at any point in time, other stuff could pop off, but at least for right now, it is kind of interesting to see that we're halfway done with it. But even as they said though, it's supposed to be a 10-year thing. It's been
4 years.
4 years so far. So like, there's at least eight. Oh, sorry, Jesus, not eight, six left. Jesus,
The
my
method
math.
method.
Math. So I was like eight. Where did that come from? 6 years left in the journey, and anything could happen in between there to either a deter them
Yeah,
or b
or
to like
prolong it.
uh
Speaking of prolonging, which leads us into actually what's going to be going on with for the rest of this core, we get the first mage class exam. So it appears that
mhm.
the studio, they've been teasing the hell out this arc,
Yeah.
and one way or another, it looks like our group are gonna get involved with the magic school that's at this town. I know the name, but I don't want to butcher it. It's like, I think it's Arbiter or something like that. That's how you
Our
would say it.
burst or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think if I'm
something like
correct,
that.
if I'm not wrong.
One way or another, they're gonna get involved with the mages of this city, and they're gonna get put into the exam. And so from all the teasers and stuff they have been putting out, no, that the studio has been putting out, it looks like it's going to be a great time, because we've been hearing about like the advancement of how magic's been using demons to advance human society as just in general, not even
Mhm.
just like for fighting magic, just to advance human society in whole. And so now is we get to actually see what a modern magician looks like in this world.
Yeah, modern mage. What's really interesting, it's interesting that you touch on a point like magic has been shown in multiple different facets, like within the city, how it's evolved from the time of him as a hero to even now. Was it when I was looking through Twitter for like news and stuff like that, I kept seeing clips that of like new characters that are joining like this season, and every shot was dang near like an action shot. So I'm just like,
Yes.
is this like a tournament arc kind of
Hey,
thing,
listen, I'm
or
I'm all here for it if it is.
if it is, no, if it is, I'm very interested to see, because I feel like we've only seen the surface of what Fern and Frieren can do in terms of like battle magic.
Yeah.
Like, we mostly see them use Zoltrak in different ways, and now I feel like this, if anything, if there was ever a time for them to show more
For
of,
fearing to show her stuff, this would be
yeah,
now. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm very interested to see what that'll lead to. I also feel like we could probably get into some fun comedy moments,
Yeah.
because for anyone that like, just a real world example, math is a big thing that people constantly say changed how it's taught throughout like the years.
Hmm.
And like, you would come home and show your parents how you do multiplication, they'd be like, damn, we didn't do it like this. It would be so funny for like Fearing to take the exam and end up like getting stuff wrong, because that's not how they do certain things no more.
Or getting it right, but when
But
she's showing her work, that everybody's just looking at her like, what type of fucking
so,
calculations are
yeah,
these?
like, how the fuck did you do that with it? Like, we don't
Yeah.
do it. Like, I think it would be
Like she used
so
some
funny.
type of old ass arithmetic that's not taught anymore, but she still got the right answer though. It'll be funny.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Some old
and so
stuff
I'm
like that.
glad you brought that up. So now I do hope it's not like just a full like terminal art type thing. I do actually hope that we're gonna get like a full on like magic exam, because I do want them to like actually test Frieren in her different magic abilities, because like we see, like you just said earlier, we haven't really seen Frieren do much just besides really just use Zoltrack to one shot things. You know, we haven't really seen her pull off, different magic, like making it rain, a big, just a generic fireball, something like that. We haven't really, it's just been just straight up Zoltrack. So
No talk.
I really want to see all the different stuff that Frieren can actually do.
Yeah, so same here. Fern and Frieren, I feel like should definitely be showing more of their stuff. I can't help but wonder also, just based on the clips, if something's going to happen during this exam that's going to get them sidetracked and do other stuff. Kind of like when they went to the city and they were like, "Oh, demons are here,"
Mhm.
and they had to fight, fight,
That
fuck.
that'll be very cool if like the city that they're in for whatever reason just got attacked by demons, but and now all the mages got to come together to defend the city. That'd be dope.
Yeah,
That'd be
it just I
cool.
don't know the way that it's just the way that they've been advertising this like online just makes me feel like it's something bigger than just the exam might happen. So that's why I'm just like I feel like there's a lot that could come into play in this
Hmm.
arc, but I'm very excited to see.
And so I'm glad you actually brought that up because as this is the magic exam arc. So how do we think our boy Stark will actually play a role in this arc coming up?
Well, see, that's and well, I don't know, cheerleader, like support. I feel like if they decide to expand upon the magic system,
Hmm.
I feel like he might be an insert for the audience, if anything, because Stark doesn't seem like a person that knows a lot about magic. So, like, if they're say like it is a tournament arc or something akin to it, at least Stark on the sideline watching and be like, "Damn, how are they doing this, this, and this?"
So
And then
maybe for
someone else is
essentially
explaining.
Stark is the viewer will be the viewer for this season
Yeah,
essentially.
yeah, he'd be like our path. He'd be like a passenger for us, basically, like a witness to how magic has advanced, and someone breaks it down to him
Hmm.
as stuff is happening, and then basically he's us, dude. Like we don't understand this
Do
shit.
you
You don't
think it would
understand
be
this shit.
possible that for him to start using magic himself?
I don't think so. Only because I feel like that just doesn't seem. I feel like where the show would go. At least they haven't. At least to me, they haven't shown him having any interest in magic at
No.
all. And I don't know if if this would change that. I don't.
I mean, I guess, but he hasn't really shown any, I guess, disinterest in it either. I mean, he's traveling with two mages.
I mean, again, I don't think it couldn't happen. I'm just saying, based on how the show's going, I don't think I'm just don't think he'll want to venture into that role
I
unless he
feel you,
has to.
unless he has to. Yeah, no,
Because
I feel you because
yeah,
and by that I wouldn't necessarily see him just like diving in it for like full become like a full battle
yeah,
war like magical warrior something like that. It'll
mhm,
just be more in the essence of like, oh, I learned how to cast certain enchantments on my on my warhammer now, or I guess it's a war axe on my
yeah.
war axe now, or I can use certain spells to like boost my speed. Just like small stuff like that, nothing too crazy.
I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I guess I would say it's just right now. That doesn't feel like where they're going, at least with this character. But anything could change. We're in the middle of the story, so.
Okay. Yeah, no, I feel you that. I feel you on that. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
anything else you want to touch up on for our first impressions? Did you feel like the animation still holding up for the second core here? It doesn't
Oh
really look
yeah,
like really anything changed, in my
oh yeah,
opinion.
I was. It still looks good to me. I love what was it like that episode again? Fearing is so funny because like we'll get episodes where it's like, oh, the human condition or stuff like for instance when they met Vol and how Vol's whole thing was like I'm he's near the end of his life, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
So he's having like lapses in his memory, and he's like, "Oh, the only reason I like protect this town is because my wife. From what I remember of my wife, she loved it so much." And
Yeah,
there was just and the whole thing was like to me kind of just further was like teacher fearing the thing of like no matter how long we live or whatever, even if we can't remember the people uh, like fully remember the people, they still
that
have an
connection
impact
is
on our
still there.
lives, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. And then in the next episode, there's a plant that puts people to sleep. And she gets put to sleep for 5 seconds. Insane has to fight, and we get this really nice animated action scene
yes, it was nice.
with a whole with a whole bunch of particle effects and everything. It's just
I thought they was gonna let my boy take the mouse down himself, but
I thought yeah,
I
exactly. I
do
thought he
like,
was
but like I said, I've been loving like how they've been essentially just recalling their past conversations and just relating them back to Fearing in the present. It's just I love how they've been doing that. And so once again we had another situation with that and similar with saying how he was remembered the teachings from, I think it was, how do you say this person's name? Because I don't want to say Hitler. It's not Hitler. But it's close to
oh
that. It's like
oh
Heitler or something like that.
Yeah, high tier, high high tier, high tier.
So
Everybody knows who you're talking
it's
about.
something along those lines.
The pre Farron's
Fern's
what,
old
adoptive
priest.
father.
Yes.
Yeah, Farron's adoptive father, Farron's priest.
So we get
Um,
the whole flashback scene with him telling saying like, Frieren Freeman is very hard to understand, so I just learned to not try to understand Frieren and just learn to trust her words and just
yeah,
the things that she said. And then we get the whole scene where she was like, what he said was, she said she'll defeat the Demon King one day, and then look what we're it's just
yeah.
those moments are just so beautiful. I'm loving those flashback scenes. They're just so nicely well done.
I just like, I guess that, and so I'm interested to see like how well those will play. How well, I guess, we'll begin those as we move into an arc that seems to be, just like I said from the advertisements, somewhat mostly action or action adjacent.
Yeah,
Um, so that's probably one thing. But so far I'm excited to move into this new arc, and Fearin has been a very strong show throughout throughout last season. So I'm hoping it stays strong.
I agree. I agree as well. But that is the end of the Fearings discussions. I do want to go ahead and say this. So both me and McMillian, we've been thinking here for a while about whether or not we wanted to do Fearing Fridays here on the channel. So essentially they'll be their own separate episode where every week we'll be coming to, we'll be reviewing Fearing every week. Hence Fearing Fridays. So let us know what you guys think about that, because we haven't figured out what would be the feature podcast for this season. We haven't figured it out
Yeah,
just yet. So let us guys
the feature
know
anime.
what you think about that idea.
It's interesting because like also like one thing. Before we, I guess, like fully move on from Fearin, but like one thing I would imagine is hard to do, especially like after the staying up episode, is like making sure as moving into this exam thing. How would one stay focused and ready at all times? And I think they need Magic Mind. Um, that's basically that's right, everybody. Magic Mind is back to sponsor the podcast for this one episode. Just as a reminder, Magic Mind is a juice or a juice supplement that also gives you a boost in energy and focus throughout your day. It's really good. It doesn't have any of like the negative effects such as coffee or regular energy drinks. We've been using it here on the podcast to kind of keep us rejuvenated and
And
energized.
motivated and
Yep.
energized, ready to go.
Yeah, so we highly recommend that you guys go out and get yourself a subscription to Magic Mind through their website. Right now, they're doing a special within like the month of January where there's like a big discount to everyone they're getting like their first time subscription. Like you get a 1 month free, and to access that, you can use our link, magicmind.com/JAN Gurren Otaku to get to get the first month's free within your subscription, or you can use our our code GURN20 to get a 20% off one-time purchase if you just want to try it out that way. But we do recommend getting the subscription so you can at least you make ensure that you stay focused and ready throughout basically as much as you need to throughout the year is what you need to.
That is correct. Well, so once again, thank you to Magic Mind for sponsoring today's episode. With that being said, everybody, we're gonna head into our next discussion. So before we give out this week's book recommendation, we want to give out an update on our winter 2024 watch list. I'm proud to say that my intuition was correct. So for my update, I want to talk about the wrong way to use healing magic. If you guys remember last episode, I was telling you guys how I didn't know anything about this series, the show, nothing at all. I just saw the name, thought it was interesting, and said I'm in, and I'm glad I was correct because it's an isekai. Didn't know that. So it's an isekai. So I'll go a little bit into the plot. So spoilers for the first episode. So we follow our main character who is a high school student, where we see him and he's talking to some of his friends some of his classmates rather, as they're walking home in the rain. A magical circle magically appears out of nowhere and they get whisked away to another world. So Truck Coon didn't come this time, so he our MC didn't have to go through the fate of that. He got teleported to another world through via just magic transportation, right? So they get there. The king of this kingdom that they get transported to in this other world tells them, hey, we summoned you guys here to be heroes, the classic the classic trope. We summoned you guys here to be heroes, to protect our no, to protect our kingdom from the demon king, of course. That's in his word, all the classic tropes.
Mhm.
One of the classmates that was with him is of course rightly upset that they pulled him along, but nonetheless, everybody else, the girl that's with him, that's with them, the president of the council, no, the class president, and our main character, they're trying to keep an unhappy mood about this whole situation. So as they go from the king, they're going to get their magic appraised essentially to see what type of magic they can use. The girl, she can use thunder magic. The vice president, which is the other guy, he can use light magic. And then our main character, it turns out he can use healing magic, right? So
Mhm.
that's what the show is about. The wrong way to use healing magic. So
Yeah.
but for whatever reason, they did not want to tell this man what type of magic he has. He was just like, hey, you got a magic, but don't worry about what that magic is. We gonna send you off. We gonna send you off somewhere nice where you could be nice and alone, where you don't have to worry about none of this stuff. We apologize for bringing you here because as well he wasn't supposed to be brought here as well. Essentially, he's here by accident. Our main
Oh, okay.
character, but come to find out, there's a medic, a rescue team, if you will, for this kingdom, and the leader of that team is a healing user, and she apparently her training is very unorthodox. Everybody in this kingdom seems to be fairly scared of her for one reason or another.
Mm.
I'm calling her Tsunade 2.0 essentially, because that's
Okay.
basically what it is right now. Is just Tsunade 2.0. And she says she's gonna teach our main character how to use healing magic. So we know we're going from there. It looks this the show looked like it's gonna be a great time because they end the show off with the reveal of the intro for the series, and it looked like it's gonna get crazy later on in the series.
I was just based off the intro.
Yeah, it's just based off the intro.
Okay. All right. I mean, that does sound interesting. At least, like,
So
the fact that they didn't even want to tell them what the magic was is
yeah, so
definitely.
essentially, old girl, she going to a Tsunade 2.0. She gonna train him to be a healing magic user, is what she said. But and from the way the intro looks like, that essentially just means a combat medic. And at this point, I don't even know if you can call that a combat medic. 'Cause
Mm.
it doesn't necessarily, at least from what I know now, it doesn't appear that he's using his healing abilities to heal other people, just himself really, unless we see otherwise. It's only been one episode so far. But like I said, I'm just gauging stuff from the intro, but it looks really, really cool.
Nice, nice. That's good too. I'm gonna check that one out. I haven't done that, but I have. I guess for my watch this catch up, the one I want to talk about probably will be Ishura. Right now, it seems to be a exclusive anime on Hulu/Disney Plus. And like I've stated before on the podcast, it's about the death of this Demon King and these other people who are rising to the challenge to basically, I don't know if it's like reclaim to reclaim the title or be regarded as world's strongest, but basically, um, spoiler light kind of. We start the first episode in the city in which the old Demon King once used to live, and within that city is a labyrinth where his old golems and magics that he used are like located. People within the city kind of venture into the labyrinth to discover things such as like items, stuff like that, use it to sell. And here there's a school located that young mages and stuff come to like train and learn from the magics of the Demon King. Uh, Eventually, though, the labyrinth itself awakens and appears to be a giant golem in itself. And the girl who we thought was the main character, she might actually be the main character, but by like the later in the episode, another character arrives, and I'm like, oh, this might be who we follow. Basically, she deals with having to like survive basically because there's a golem attacking the city, and she almost gets killed, but out of nowhere comes a random swordsman who uses a training sword and is able to devastate all the golems. And he's like, "Hey, if you feed me, I'll take out that giant one over there." And she's like, "What the fuck?" I like, okay, I guess. And what we get is one of the probably the best action scenes I've seen animated in a long time, and
Okay.
it just yeah, and it was wild, it was crazy, but it was very good to watch. And then after he beats the golem, he's like, "Man, that was fun." Thanks for the experience. And she was like, wait, didn't you want food? He was, oh yeah, I was starving. And basically from there, like she mentions like, wow, he's so strong. And there I was like, and there's all these other people in the world apparently that like she feel that can are like reaching the claim or the height of like hero or demon king, and they're all supposed to be meeting in this one city. I don't know if that means this series is a tournament style thing where people fight for supremacy, but at least that's what it seems to be. It might shape up to be, at least, because
Okay.
she tells the swordsman like, hey, if you're looking for a challenge, if you're looking to continue your fun, you can find strong people arriving here. And the way the episode ends is that she basically, like, in her head, she goes through like the possible people that he could run into that might be able to beat him,
Hmm.
and it just makes it sound, I don't know, the shit that it was like a little slideshow type thing, but it was really interesting, and it got me really excited
Okay.
for the next whatever comes next for
Whatever
this
comes.
show.
No, I feel you because I do remember seeing the trailers for this show, and I just remember the trailers did look really really good. So I'm glad to hear the action in this show. It does look as good as as it did in the trailer. So that's great to hear. Wonderful.
Hmm. Yeah, so highly recommend people check that out.
I agree. Well, with all that being said, everybody, that's the end of our watch list update. We don't know how we want to handle this watch list update. We're probably going to come back every week with a different update, at least for the beginning, at least till we watch
Yeah.
everything right here for the beginner on our watch list initially. But moving on from there, we're going to be giving out this week's weekly recommendation, which is the Faraway Paladin. So take it away, McMillian.
Yeah, so brief synopsis. Faraway Paladin is about in an abandoned city, a young human boy named William is raised by three undead monsters: a mummy priest, a skeletal knight named Blood, and the ghost wizard Gus. They are a loving family, but one day William has to leave his home and venture into the world as a paladin knight. This show has two seasons, which contain 25 episodes in total. You may have heard us mention this before on the podcast because it recently got its second season within like the not last anime season, but maybe like the one before that, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Um, I have only watched 7 episodes of this, and usually for weekly recs, I usually am like I finish the series before I do it. But I was blown away so much so by like the first couple of episodes. I was like, I
Let's
gotta talk.
go.
I gotta recommend this.
One
Like
of
it
us.
was. Yeah, Ace has already seen a bit of it, but
I seen the
it
first
really
season.
blew. Yeah, it really blew me away within like the first couple of episodes I watched. I was like, I've heard of this show, but I never took the chance to sit down and watch it. But I had some time, like
Yeah.
last night, to actually like just be like, hey, I've caught up with most of my current watch list. What old like I was like, what show? I kind of feel like watching something different that maybe,
Hmm.
but like go back and put this on. Was locked in for 7 episodes. I did. I was.
So, was you watching in sub or dub?
I watched it in dub
Okay,
because I was
you
doing
watched the
it.
dub. How is it? Because I didn't. Of course, when I was
I
watching
like
it,
it.
the sub
There's
was out.
actually, I think that they actually pull off some pretty good performances in it so far. Like
Okay.
I've had any issues with it.
Okay. Sounds
So,
good.
I, if you want to watch it in dub, you got my seal approval to do so. Because I watched it in dub because I was doing other stuff around the house at the time,
Hmm.
or should I say, I was, and until I got like I just sat there and got locked in, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh
no, I
shit, this is
feel.
good.
Yeah, so I was telling McMillian, definitely one things about Faraway Paladin that what surprised me was just how the story evolved at the beginning of the show. Because essentially, I guess like well, not name spoilers. I'm not really gonna get too deep into it, but the beginning of the show is essentially a prologue and it's set up for what the actual series is. But me going into it blind, I didn't know that. So just seeing the series evolve at the very beginning, I like that because I was in for a story that I didn't know I was in for essentially.
Yeah, same basically. Um, Going in blind is really good about this one, I think. But even without that, in my opinion, it just tells a really good story. I
Yes.
really liked it, and that's why even though I've only watched 7 episodes, I feel very strongly about recommending it to you. Also, like I said, this week's weekly recommendation, Faraway Paladin. Please go check it out.
All right. And then now for our last discussion for today, everybody, we're going to be talking about our first impressions of the highly anticipated adaptation of the Korean manga. This was Korean manga, right? For the Korean
Yep.
manga.
Called the
Solo leveling.
manhwa.
Yep,
Yep.
there we go. Solo leveling. So, the anime community has been waiting a long time for this one. Solo leveling has finally dropped. If I'm not mistaken. Once again, A1 Studios is the one who's animating this show. So,
Hmm.
and it looks really really good. I'm happy to say that
Yeah.
the show looks, oh, it looks crisp, nice and clean. No complaints at all with any of the animation. But let's just get a little bit into this the discussion here. So the world of Solo Leveling, it was revealed to us that in the world of Japan, not the world of Japan, the city of Japan, gates started appearing all throughout Japan for whatever reason, just one day unnaturally. And on the other side of those gates were monsters. At the same
Hmm.
time this was occurring in Japan, people started awakening said powers to fight these monsters because they found out that monsters could not be hurt or harmed by regular conventional weapons. You was about
Now,
to say
I
something?
do have a I do have a question because I thought, now granted I've know a little bit about solo leveling from the manhwa. I haven't read a lot of it, but I
Hmm.
just know about it because, like I said, it was very popular. So in the manhwa, it's all over the world that the gates open. And I thought
It
it said
could
that
have
in the
been. They
anime.
probably could have said that in the anime as well. I might have
Okay,
missed it. That I do apologize. So the gates could be open everywhere in the world. If I did
yeah, because it's not.
say that
Yeah,
wrong, I do
it's
apologize.
basically the gates and the powers happened all over.
Okay.
It's just our story focuses, well, in Japan, but
Mainly,
technically in the
yeah.
yeah, and mainly in Japan. But it's funny in the comic, it's in Korea. But hey, when you get a Japanese studio making it, they get to change it, I
This is some of the stuff you got to deal with, all
guess.
right. But nonetheless, so people started awakening powers to fight said monsters that appeared, from these various gates, and a new faction called Hunters, the Hunter Corps, essentially what they also call themselves, came about, where these hunters are the ones to go about and venture to these gates and fight the monsters on the other side of these gates. We also
Yep,
learned that the Hunter Association is actually kind of a in a sense also like a political organization as well, because right
there.
now they are the leading company for moving humanity forward as a whole, because they're everybody's trying to use the magic crystals that the hunters get from defeating monsters to actually make a new
Generate power.
renewable energy.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Hunter Association, the way I thought of them is that they're kind of like a union for hunters.
Hmm.
They like oversee basically like labor for hunters. All, well, at least in Japan, I'm assuming, because this is the Hunter Association of Japan.
Yeah.
But they seem to deal, I guess, with like the training. Well, not training, but like I guess like how a union normally works for its workers. Like it's you can work for other places, but at overall, like this kind of is the people that set the rules for how things are operate within when it comes to hunters and stuff like that. Because like also within the show, they show that guilds exist, and guilds are usually groups of people, like our agencies that will sign hunters.
Correct.
And
But
I
all the
guess
guilds are under the main Hunter Association, though.
yeah, the hunter association has like, I guess, influence over them,
Yeah,
stuff like that.
they
But
they
guilds could
like you
be,
said earlier, they basically set the rules and everything that all the
mhm,
hunters in these guilds that they have to follow.
yeah,
So, and speaking of that, so the hunters are categorized from by ranks from S to E, and an interesting and important fact about this world is that once a hunter awakens their power, whatever level of strength that they awaken it, they're stuck with that essentially. But
well,
thankfully, our main character is, as we're going to be watching throughout the series, he's going to break that law of this world essentially.
yeah. So it's interesting because what that isn't necessarily incorrect, but it's also not like correct, because there's also something.
I guess, well, because I
Um,
guess you're thinking about like magic items in a sense.
well, I don't know. I was saying, so in the series or something, there's a thing called a second awakening, which other
Okay.
people can,
Well,
which you can potentially.
way to jump ahead in the series, McMillian.
Well, this is, well, the only reason I don't feel like it's not that spoilery, because legitimately, like, we're probably gonna find out about it within like the third or second episode.
Oh, okay. So
But
it's not that long.
the
It's
con-
not that long.
the
Okay.
the concept, I think, is more so of the thing is like, once a hunter awakens, there's no training or anything that you can do to
Hmm.
technically improve your abilities, but there is a chance that you could have, when you like first got categorized or whatever, that it could have been like the categorization could have been incorrect. And so when that happens, they call it a second awakening because like your powers, your full powers came in or some shit. The way
The way they
I
explain it.
it's her, yeah, because like I said, I haven't read the thing, but I have read like a kind of like a breakdown of like the world, and one of the
Okay.
things they have is this, it's something called a second awakening.
Okay.
If that is a major spoiler, I apologize in advance.
It was
It just
this
it just
weird now.
the way it was presented to me did not sound like it, so I do apologize.
I feel you. All I'm saying is, the first episode, they ain't say nothing about a second awakening. That's all I was saying. But but apparently a second awakening exists. So whenever that does get revealed in the series, of course, we're gonna be talking about that and breaking that down as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's definitely interesting to hear. I do like the fact that they have like magical weapons and stuff in the world that they can buy, because now, well, they already shown this with them saying that they wanted to use the magic stones to make renewable energy, but now it's like you can see them using magic to essentially make everyday items. Is what I was trying to get along, the lines I was trying to get with essentially.
Yeah, I'm. It's nice to see. It's interesting because like this is a blend to me of like video games and real life, obviously because well, not video games in real life, but I don't
Magic.
know.
It
Well,
would be
actually,
magic, right?
magic. Hey, well, it's interesting because I was about to say like I think I said video games because the monsters have drops.
I mean, well,
Like
technically, in some fantasy worlds, the monsters still have drops.
drops, yeah.
Yeah,
But like I was just saying, like it feels video game s because of the drop rate and equipment and stuff like
yeah.
that. But technically, that's I mean, that's you know the scales, but
Semantics.
I yeah, I do kind of like the blend of modern and like older fantasy, I guess, in a way, because like they like one thing they also point out like very early on in the show is that conventional weapons of today do not work on monsters. The only way to like kill a monster is with like magic items or skills of a hunter or some such thing like that.
Hmm.
So it's just very interesting to see how that'll play out. And then like one of the things they also like showed in this there's a scene in the first episode where they're at the testing facility of hunters where people get ranked and sorted and they have like guild scouts there, and one thing they'd be like, hey, if you sign with us, you make sure all your equipment's good, your payments stuff, like, and I'm just like, I was like, okay, look at this, look at how
The army
look
recruiters
at
of the
how
fantasy world.
is it right. I was like, look at how that works. Like, look at the agencies coming to scout people. Like,
Yeah, I thought that was a nice touch as well, which is why I'm definitely looking forward to see, excuse me, more the political aspect and more the human nature part of the series play a part in the show. I'm definitely looking forward to that.
I like how party and also this also plays into some like big thing of it, like within hunters based on what we see with like Sun Jin Woo.
Hmm.
um was it your hunter whatever, I guess the hunter association seems to like when a job comes available they like get a team together.
Hmm.
It's not like you randomly find a party and you stick with that. It's kind of like your like rank. You have a rank, and once some job or something comes available, and you could say, like, "Hey, I'm up for jobs this week," and they'll sort you into like
Yeah.
parties like that. Because like one thing that
If
Sun Jin had mentioned before is that he went on a mission and they didn't have a healer, and he almost like got fucked or like messed up really badly. So I just thought that was kind of cool as well.
I also like our main character's conviction as well, because through this first episode he states multiple times he's like, I got the short end of the stick is essentially here with my awakening, and every time
Hmm.
I go into one of these dungeons, I'm legit fighting for my life every single time, but yet I'm still pushing through this because my dad just died recently. My sister's in school, and I believe he said his mother is sick as well, if I'm not mistaken, so
Yeah,
he has to pay for the medical bills for all that. So his family is what's pushing him and driving him to risk his life and things of that nature. So I thought that was very, not necessarily heroic, but I guess heroic in a
I
sense.
I liked it because I think it answers just a really big question at the beginning. Like, damn, you are barely stronger than a human. Why are you doing this? You could get a 9 to 5. Like, you,
Yeah,
like
you
it
could just
answers.
get a regular job, but no,
Yeah,
you
it
can't just
answers.
get a
Yeah,
regular job.
exactly. It answers the thing so fast. Like he has a reason to constantly put
Yeah.
himself in danger and stuff like that.
This is
So
the fastest way he can make money. Unfortunately, he was the only one that was awakened these powers, and this is the one of the fastest way he can actually make money to, help his family out like that. So he has to put his life on the line, and he's willing to do that. Very, very courageous. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Courageous. That's more the word I
courageous.
was looking for.
Yeah. Yep. Something. Before we like, I guess, get into like the last little bit of the episode, because that's probably what like a majority of the interesting things happen.
Hmm.
Something interesting I want to ask you. Do based on like the whole power system, something they explain. Like we said before, basically once you get stuck with your like rank or whatever, unless you get like the second awakening thing,
Yeah,
you basically can't get stronger no
I
matter
don't
how
like that.
hard you try.
I don't like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. I was gonna ask your opinion on that because like one thing I was thinking about. I granted that the series is called Solo Leveling, so I understand he's the guy. He's the shit.
Yeah.
He's going to be the shit, right? But something I think with when you get into a show where the focus is like fighting and stuff of that nature,
Hmm.
which you like to see character growth
Yeah.
and from a multitude of different people, and this kind of feels like that is stopping it, to me at least, somewhat stopping that to me. Now granted, there's other ways to grow a character. I'm not saying like the only way is power. It's just that usually in a in a show where the central plot revolves around action, that also plays the thing into, like, for instance, best example I can give you is reincarnated as a slime. We understand Rimuru is the goddamn best thing out there, right? Like, no, he's not the strongest yet, but we understand eventually he will be the fucking
Yeah.
goat, like, of his world. But we still get to see amazing moments of like like the people that work under him also
Have character
raise in
growth.
power,
Yeah.
so, stuff like that. And I just feel like that this was that specific thing kind of like just like it's telling you, hey, it's one person, and that is like, I don't know if how many people are going to enjoy that. So that's why
Yeah.
I wanted to bring
Yeah. No,
that
I
up.
don't like that because, for me with fantasy worlds, I'm assuming just like with anybody else, I like to envelop myself in the world, imagine myself inside the world. And if you have a power system where I can essentially get fucked by birth, it just essentially, just being born, just straight up fucked. I don't like that. It kind of, which kind of, points me back to the reason why I didn't kind of like the quirk system at first with my hero, but it's still, at least with the quirk system, you can grow your quirk and make it stronger still in a
Your
sense.
quirk,
Even if you
I was
do
about to
get a
say
shitty
quirks.
one, you can still technically make it stronger.
And I mean, well, not only that, but quirks can evolve.
Yeah.
Quirks have the thing where they themselves can get like twice. First, only being able to make clones
Clones
and
of
change
himself,
them.
but then now he can
Yeah,
clone other people and their
people
copy their
and
abilities and stuff like that. Yeah.
abilities. Yeah,
Crazy. Crazy.
one man army type shit. But like in this one, it's like, hey, you're a C rank. You're gonna be a C rank to the day you die.
Yeah,
Like
because
that
it's
is.
like, okay, if I start off as a C rank, okay, maybe at least I can see myself, working towards, and if I could, and rising up the ranks and stuff like that. But you just telling me straight up like, hey, no, you once a C, always a C rank. Like, no, I just don't like that.
Mhm. So that I just wanted to get your thoughts and opinions on that. So at the end of the episode, we get this big thing. Sun Jin Woo is going through uh, what was it, the dungeon with the people that he was assigned to go with, and they find this like deeper part of the cave, and they're like, oh, a double dungeon. That's rare,
Hmm.
but we could potentially get more rewards, earn more money. And Sun Jin Woo, being the broke boy that he is, like, shit, yeah, let's do it. Um,
Question: Yes or
mhm.
no? Would you have voted for yes or no in that situation?
it am I his rank or higher?
You could be alone with everybody else. You could be D rank with everybody else.
D, maybe, maybe,
Maybe. Nah, big
maybe.
dog. I'm
Now
gone.
you say nah.
I'm gone.
Well, the thing is, I think it's important to point out that the
the
gate that the thing they were in was
the
the E rank
first
dungeon.
indication for BS was when they all collectively came together and said, "Huh, a double dungeon. This normally doesn't happen for lower level dungeons."
Oh no, okay, hold on, wait, but that's but that implies slightly, Alex, that you have information of what death flags are outside of this world.
I
I
mean,
thought
I do is if listen, there's already basic knowledge in that word. If these people are coming together and say, hey, stuff like this don't normally happen in low level dungeons, that means this precipice has already been stated. This is college, not this is common knowledge among hunters at least. So I can, if I'm a hunter, why can't I use that in my logic processing? That's all I
I
want to
mean,
know.
I guess that's fair, but to me, that I felt like it's not something that doesn't happen. It's just rare, and the thing is, we're all in a video game setting. Why like who doesn't like an extra challenge now again? It's just a boss.
Some may
It's
right
regular.
now.
Well, now
If y'all said we had a B rank or maybe even an A rank leading the group or something, okay, maybe you know what. I'm feeling good today. Let's do it. I still got 30 minutes. You know, I got my second win. Let's go.
also
That first group wasn't nothing anyways. I'm still ready to fight. Let's go then. But nah.
also also something they point out is that usually if Sun Jin Woo is on a mission is
Oh yeah, the whole Sun Jin
is
Woo.
on the thing.
I don't know, man. And see, that's another thing. Sun Jin Woo here. Why the hell is this double dungeon automatically appearing out of nowhere? I don't know. Some just ain't. Listen, some just
Now
telling me, guys, we don't need to go down this hallway. That's just me though.
now I will say this. If it was me, the moment I would have probably cut and run is not when they were like, "Hey, it's a double dungeon. We should like find out at the end of this hall, like what's there." If we went down there, like this long ass hallway, no monsters, no nothing popped out.
Yeah, and
we've
you
been
get
fighting,
to this fat ass door. Oh, I'm definitely heading
oh,
turn around
yeah,
now.
no. This is above my pay grade.
This door 20 feet tall. Looking at. Yeah, this don't look like a regular boss room, guys. This don't look like a regular boss room. I'm not
ceremonial as shit. Like this
Yeah.
looked like something meant for a B or A rank person. I'm getting the fuck about it.
I mean, as soon as they open the door, all I gotta do is take a little peek inside, and I just see all the statues, these giant ass statues in a circle. Nah, that whole vibe right there, I'm not dealing with that. I'm leaving. I probably wouldn't even walked in the room. And if I did go in the group, like you said, at that moment when I get to the door, I'm probably changing my mind at that moment. Like, hold on now. Like, we might have overthought this, everybody.
Exactly.
But I'm definitely looking forward to see how many of them survive this next episode, because as we all know, they walked right into a slaughterhouse. So definitely interested to see how many of them make it out alive. Of course, you know our main character is going to make it out because he's the main character, but you know they're not going to end the series on the second episode.
So, yeah, and then, like I said, this seems to be the thing that I guess starts whatever happens to where he gets the ability to grow.
Okay.
But goddamn, was that a fucking way to end an episode?
Okay, so let me ask you this, because even though I did enjoy the first episode, we was talking about this a little bit before earlier. How did you feel about the first episode as a whole? Like, do you think it did a good enough job of grabbing people? Like, so say for instance, like if you were somebody who had no prior knowledge, no other series, you just gonna check it out because you know about Soul Living. But if you had no prior knowledge of the series and you checked out the episode, do you feel like it did enough to pull you in?
Honestly, I'm gonna say no. If I had no prior knowledge, if this wasn't one of the most anticipated shows of the thing, I honestly would have been like, well, that was kind of underwhelming for a first episode in my, like, for a thing that's supposed to grab you and be like, hey, continue to watch. Like, I definitely think the ending does a good that, but like everything else kind of doesn't. Even like the first half of it where they were like showing that mission that happened 3 years ago and how it required all like what I'm assuming it required like a whole bunch of hunters and a couple of S rank ones. That was good, but it wasn't good enough for me to be like, oh damn, I'm locked in now.
Yeah,
right.
I feel you.
Like it was entertaining, but to me, I was like, we didn't get any information. You just dropped me in the middle of a battlefield, giant fucking ants are eating people. Like, like this is cool, but like I don't have there's no stake to me because no one has explained the stakes, right? And so I'm not as interested in what the fuck is going on right now. And even later on, I'm seeing things that aren't unique, I guess I would probably say.
Yeah.
Like a lot of what I'm seeing right now is stuff I've seen
nothing
before.
new, essentially. I'm with you on that. And, that's kind of the same feeling that I had as well when I was watching it. Like if Now putting my shoes in somebody who, if I didn't have any prior knowledge to the series, I was like, well, this first episode didn't really do that great of a job, at pulling me in. But of course, I'm gonna continue watching it because I
Continue watching it.
know and I've been hearing about the hype for the show and stuff like that. But even so, like you just mentioned, as you mentioned the first time, the ending, I do think the ending did a good enough job to where if I didn't have any prior knowledge, that okay, I'm giving it,
I'm at least
the
come
3 to
back
5 episode rules. I'm definitely just gonna come back because you definitely did a good job ending off this first episode on a crazy ass cliffhanger.
Yeah, but like if I didn't know, but like you said, if I didn't know anything, I'd definitely be like, well, this was a little underwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't know, like I probably wouldn't like, usually like for a show like this, I think you would want to hit something and be like, man, I'm really excited for next week's episode. This was like for me, I've been like, well, I'm interested in it,
Correct.
but I'm not like clamoring for like, I'm not like,
Yeah.
damn, I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens or something.
Yeah, I'm not getting that feeling from my first the new episode, first episode. I'm not getting that type of oomph from this episode 1. But but thankfully, I do think overall it still did enough towards the end to make you pull people in if you didn't have any prior knowledge or experience with the series. So I think that was just saving grace. So
I also still think, I also want to preface, I do still think it's good. I just don't think it, as me and Ace were saying, I don't think it just did a good enough job to generate a lot of hype and anticipation. It kind of just was like, here is the basic knowledge you need, a lot of exposition, and then boom, really nice cliffhanger, but not like something that's like, because I need to,
because now it almost feels like they should have did a 1-hour premiere, in my opinion.
I think that would have been better. I actually do think that probably would have been a much better thing. Like if granted, I don't know how the second episode is going to end, but I definitely think like a 1-hour premiere where we got the breakdown, where we got this first episode, the breakdown of the world. We actually see Sun Jin Woo fully go through whatever the fuck is about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, next. And then it was like the start of Solo Leveling journey. I do think that would have probably been better.
Yeah, I think this series definitely would, needed a 1-hour intro for the first episode. Not intro, a 1-hour introduction for the first episode.
Yeah, something like
what kind of some of the Frieren.
I was about to say Frieren or Oshinoko, because Oshinoko even had I would say it was something similar where it had like a lot of explanation in the first.
Even Demon Slayer recently.
Yeah. But I was about to say Oshinoko really, in my mind, like just off the top of my head,
yes,
had in its first episode had a lot of explanation up front, but then like you got to know the characters, and then you got like the dark gritty part and everything that came after, and it got you really excited.
Really excited.
What came next?
Oshinoko is a perfect example, because if that one just would have been an extended 30-minute episode, I think I would have been feeling just how I'm feeling now with Solo Leveling. Like the first, like it's good, like I can see the potential, but it didn't really pull me in like I would wanted it to. But giving it that full hour for that first episode, it boom. I think Oshinoko, that first episode was like one of the best episodes of that year, in my opinion. Exactly.
And you were locked in after that. And it was a good series. But like, and Solo Leveling probably still would be a good series. It's just that that first episode did not hit that mark.
Yeah.
So yeah, but it's still good. I'm still looking forward to the second one. I'm hoping that this is one of the standouts, because like I said, everybody's been clamoring for this series. Right now it's scheduled, I believe, for like 12 episodes. So,
okay, that's dope.
I'm interested to see what they'll do within this 12
episodes per core, or like just for this first season.
From what it looks like, it's first season. Someone because the Blu-ray, the information for like the Blu-ray DVD came out, and it looks like it's just going to be 12 for this first season.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm interested to see what it does.
When we do get to the 12 episode mark, it turns out to be that it's just a 12 episode core. Hopefully that's the case, because I'm tired of these 12 episode seasons, man. Give me my regular standard 24 episode seasons.
Well, we've talked about this a lot. I'm mixed on it, because I'm just like, if you tell a good story,
my position.
Yeah, I know. You want the long, you want that season, you want the standard. Me, I'm
give me
like,
the standard edition. I'm tired of all this new shit.
for me, I'm just like, if it allows people to work on a decent basis
I
and
feel
still
you.
produce
Well,
like a good story.
yes, in those cases, yes. If it allows for a better production quality overall, it's especially working environment for the animators and all that, then by all means, okay, I
Yeah.
understand then. But if y'all just doing it just because this is just what y'all wanted to do, fuck y'all. Give me my 24 episode season.
So if you could have gave me more, why did you? uh, but with all that being said, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap the episode on up here. So, as always, appreciate you guys for watching / listening. If you want to stay up to all date, if you want to stay up to date on all things about the council, please consider following us on our social media. That is at Gurren Otaku Council on everything except Twitter. There we are at Gurren Otakus. If you want to stay up, if you want to, stay up to date on our uploads, like I said before, we're on the road to 100 subscribers. So please, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date on everything, as well as leave a like, leave a like and a comment on the video. Let us know what you guys are liking from this season so far. How you guys felt about Solo Leveling's first episode, as well as the second core of Frieren. We'd love to hear it. If you're on the audio platforms, like I said, please head over to YouTube, hit the subscribe button to help us grow there, as well as leave a review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us to, as well as follow and share. That would really help us. We greatly appreciate it. But with all that being said, guys, as always, continue to enjoy anime. And try to stay warm this winter season. It's getting cold out there.
That it
But
is.
yeah, but as always, we hope to see you again. This is Gurren Otaku Council saying, meeting adjourned. Peace out, everybody.